Welcome to This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty, the number one destination for Seinfeld fans. This is Two Up and Two Down. Here's our producer, Chris, to start us off.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Two Up and Two Down. Today we are doing The Bottle Deposit, Season 7 episode. And Tony, start us off with your first one. What's your first up?
Yeah, Cavett and Robert, friends of the show. Season 7, Larry's still there, but his fingerprints are fading away, if you will. An hour-long episode. Did it have to be? We'll get there. I think at this point they were cashing checks with these hour-long episodes. But it did have some ups. I'm not knocking this episode too much right now. But my first up, and I'm just going to lead with it because it's an all-timer, and I think I'll just get rid of it off the bat, and this way it's been used. Brad Garrett, the washer view is not fine. I mean, I got no faith in this gasket. Do you even know the car? You got to come in. I mean, Garrett delivers on all cylinders on this one. As Tony the mechanic, I think he does a great job on this. The washer fluid is not fine is just an all-time line. We all love it. You didn't even know the mileage. I never know the mileage. That's the greatest thing ever. Who the hell knows the mileage, But yeah, no, I mean, that's got to be an up. I mean, where's, Putty's nowhere to be found. I guess maybe I just put my foot in my mouth. I believe Putty's been there before season 7. Yeah. And for some reason, he's not, all of a sudden we're just switching to this new guy. I think over at 56th Street or 58th Street, Jerry says, when he gives Elaine the address. But anyway, Harris making faces. Maybe I took something from him. Anyway, that's my up is Brad Garrett. Washer fluid's not fine.
It's a big up, Brad Garrett. And I just wondered, was Putty and Jerry, were they still riffing over the move?
Guys, enough with Putty. Do an up and move on. All right, Putty's a potential down for me, but now I'm not going to use it.
Putty's underneath the episode.
Let me get back to my up.
All right, so
analyze it over here big time.
Well, listen, my question was what happened to Putty. We'll get to that later. But again, for me, season 7, I'm gonna go friend of the show, Peterman. The whole JFK golf club sling. I loved when he told Elaine about them, and he said, "I'll be out of town with my lady friend." Love that line. And then obviously when Elaine comes back, JFK, the temper, the whole thing. Sometimes in 8 and 9 they bring Peterman in and it's a little too much. This was nice Peterman. Just enough. You get to learn a little bit about him, how mysterious he is, and then his quirkiness, obviously, when he hears about the temper. So Peterman's my first up.
All right, yeah, solid up there. So yeah, we got 2 guest stars as ups. Tony, what's your second up?
Yeah, this was solid, Peterman. I agree. The lady friend line gets me every time. My second up is I just always love this. I love when push comes to shove, the K-Man sides with Jerry, gets Newman out of the mail truck. Lost a fat man and we're running lean, he says to Jerry. Well, it comes down to it. Kramer shows his loyalty to Jerry. He kicks Newman to the curb. I was trying to do the math here. They weren't making any money on this deal. I think Newman says at one point 10,000 cans. It's like $1,000. You're doing all this work for nothing. They're splitting it $500 each, probably profit. Just seems like a lot, but we'll get there. Anyway, my second up, I'll always love it though. Just the line of lost a fat man and we're running lean when Kramer finally decides to ditch Newman on the side of the road and help out Jerry on this one. So that's my second up.
Yeah, and up to loyalty there. So yeah, good one. Chris, back to you. What's your second up?
I wrote that exact down. I wrote loyal to Jerry, follows the car. Clearly a common theme for us. So for me, second up, it's interesting because George kind of takes a back seat in this episode a little bit, which is rare. But again, season 7, he's still with the Yankees. The whole project thing, I do enjoy a little bit. Obviously he misheard Wilhelm, and Wilhelm gets forgetful, the whole thing. But going to payroll, I'll just look around. So he's trying to. There's a little old George in there where he's trying to figure things out. The whole with Jerry downtown trying to figure stuff out. To Tony's point, an hour episode, could they have cut some of that? Probably. I think the George stuff ran a little long, but for me, I did like it. I think whether it's in work environments or in life, you hear something or you hear it secondhand. They thought you heard you, and you have to kind of just go with the flow. I feel like we've all been in that situation, so I think there's a relatability there. Is why I'm giving this an up. So George, payroll, the project, I'll give that an up.
Now we're going to do downs. Tony, back to you. What's your first down?
Yeah. Interesting. I should have had one on the cuff here, but I got a few written down. I'm just trying to find like where I want to go with this. I mean, George, I teetered. Okay. See, I don't know, man. All right, my first down is going to be the montage of them collecting the cans. This is kind of what I'm talking about, but this is going to be an hour-long episode. I mean, enough is enough with the mellow yellow, stealing from the homeless guy. I mean, just they love these montages as they got later and later in the episodes, seasons-wise. I just think this one is played out a little too long. I mean, they don't need to be doing this. I think they thought they're getting more laughs out of this than they really ended up getting. I mean, you're talking about, because it's Newman and Kramer, okay, but they're not even talking. It's just all visuals, obviously, with the music in the background and everything like that. But we got the point already. I just think this episode was too long, and this was one of the scenes that could have been cut. This montage of the collecting of the cans.
Yeah, excellent point for being a down. I agree. I wrote it down as too long. Did it need to be a two-parter? Probably not. So, Chris, what's your first down?
Maybe I was in a better mood when I was watching this episode. I don't know. Because not too many downs, but listen, this was a down. I watched it live. The down now. The scene with the cop unveiling the car at the cop warehouse, just a big miss. And then the woman is the turbo, that whole thing. I mean, you're talking about just wasteful. There was no need for that. And Elaine rushed with Jerry to the police station to look at the car like it was a body. I don't know. For me, just why? Like why? They could have enhanced a couple other things, or I think we're finding the theme that this is too long here. But for me, that scene with the unveiling of the car, big down.
No, I agree with that one. So I'm going right back over to Tony. What's your second down?
I was going to use that. I never liked that scene, and I never will. I think that scene is just. I mean, I think it's like. Obviously we know what they're doing, and yeah, it's kind of like clever, but it's a bet. It's just an unnecessary scene. That's where you gotta know to cut the fat off of that one and just get that scene out of the show. Totally agree. But I'm gonna go with a second down. Honestly, and you kind of gave it as an up, but and maybe I was in a bad mood watching this, but I don't love anything really about Costanza in this episode. I think it's a kind of a weak storyline. I think this is right up O'Hara's alley here. I think it's a lot of that screaming George creeping in this episode. He's doing a couple of and I don't know. It's just a lot of Costanza. And to O'Hara's point earlier, he's not part of the other stuff, which is everyone else. Kramer, George, and Elaine are doing their thing. And then you got George doing this kind of, downtown thing. I mean, there were an ups I wrote down that had to do with that. I'll get to it when I do my grade, maybe. But overall, I think this is not a great Costanza episode, unfortunately. When he sees the guy down at the thing, what did he say? And the guy's like, I told you already, come on. I don't know. The whole thing. I just don't love Costanza in this episode. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. So that's why that's my down.
All right. Chris, I'm going to go right back to you now. What's your second down?
Second down, and there's a couple, but it ties in with the Costanza thing you're talking about. The payroll guy, his voice. Look, you were right. You don't have to humiliate me, all right? Like people probably love that, but like it just felt so like, all right, put on a stupid voice, and that's going to be funny. And I don't know. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. I got to stay true to myself here. So for me, that annoying voice, some people just kind of rub you the wrong way, and that guy kind of did it for me. Although I mentioned this up, I did like the scene where George was trying to poke around and just like walk in and look at things. Kind of like looking at the Penske file. He doesn't know what he's looking for. So for me, the payroll guy, down.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, a lot of these scenes probably didn't need to make it into it, but we're going to wrap it up now. So, Tony, back to you. What's your grade?
Yeah, I wrote 2 grades down here. And I'm teetering, man. I really am. Because I love Kevin and Robin, which is why it's so hard for me to give the grade I'm probably going to give here. I don't think either one of us mentioned Sue Ellen. Maybe I missed it, but I mean, that's a solid up. I didn't write this one down. I didn't say this one either, but I love when they're going over the lyrics of Downtown, and every time Jerry's like, downtown, when they get to the part of the downtown. It's a great little scene there. Those are 2 big ups and Brad Garrett, but overall, the episode's too long. We named a bunch of downs. I hate to do it. I feel like I'm going too low because I think O'Hara mentioned at the top, this is a favorite of mine, or at least I lean that way at times. I don't know. On this other watch here, maybe it was my mood, but hate to do it. C+ for the bottle deposit. I was teetering and giving it into that B- range, but I'm just gonna. I got to give it. I got to be fair here as I'm analyzing this episode more and more. How does Newman not know about recycling? I mean, that's the whole premise of this episode, and it never sat well with me. Well, like I don't want to pay the 5 cents. It's fine. We're talking about the 1990s here. I mean, who didn't know about? I don't know. That's a side note, but. Anyway, I'm giving it a C+ for the bottle deposit. That's my grade.
Chris, what's your grade?
Geez, the way you're talking, I thought you were going to give it an F. So C+, not bad. And I don't know. Maybe I'm going soft here. Bottle deposit is B-. I was tinkering on B. I get it. Little lengthy. You mentioned Sue Ellen. We questioned what happened to Putty. But boy, did they replace Putty with a good one, huh? I mean, he elevated that show from the shift knob is loose to him throwing the clubs to Kramer's loyalty. Yeah, the whole scene is silly, and maybe I'm going soft here, my old age, but I love the Kramer and Newman going on a fun adventure. I feel like they needed something like that. Yeah, corny. Could they have gotten a truck from a friend instead of stealing a mail truck? Of course. But, the JFK, Sue Ellen, I didn't pick up on the ha-has as much as you might have. Maybe I was in a good mood. I don't know. So George was kind of just even. I didn't again, we need George to be high to make it really good. But bad George in 8-9 obviously weigh it down. He didn't weigh it down. I mentioned the relatability factor. You got a little Steinbrenner in here as well. What they threw him in they threw him in the insane asylum, right? The whole thing. Maybe a little too much, Newman at the end there with the farmer, but we even get a little Rance Howard, a lot of good guest stars, but they didn't overdo it with the guest stars. So I always appreciate that. And Kevin and Robin understand that. So B-, bottle deposit.
Well, thank you guys for your grades. We appreciate it. And I think this was a fair assessment here. So we appreciate that. And we'll see everybody at the next one. Thanks.